Hey guys, so the long-awaited review of my new holster is today. For those of you who have not directly asked me, because I've gotten a ton of questions, the holster I'm going with for my CZ Shadow 2 carry is the T.REX ARMS Sidecar. There's a lot of things I like about this, a lot of things that are very comparable to a Tier 1 concealed, and I want to get a close-up view for you guys to check it out, and you'll understand the little differences once we do that. So let's get into it. So I always like to start off with a couple disclaimers. T.REX Arms did not send me this holster. Just like you guys, I had to order it with my own money. I waited for it. Got here rather quick compared to some other companies, so that's definitely a plus for them. That disclaimer out of the way, I'm going to be completely transparent. I've been using this for a couple weeks now, and as you all know, I prefer bag carry. This is a secondary style for me, but I like to have it. I like to have that option, so for me, I needed to have a holster that was compatible for that. And as we know, before we get into the close-ups, we got to show YouTube. Everything is safe, and I'm going to be showing you my macro because that's going to be the holster that I compare for the Tier 1 concealed. So now we'll get into a close-up. You guys can see the nitty-gritty. This review is going to be very technical and subjective. Overall, it's a good holster. So if you're just wondering that, you made it through enough of the video, congrats. But let's really dive into it and see what makes it different, because there's a lot of things that are similar, but a lot of things that are very different. And the price point, there's a significant difference between the two, and I think you guys deserve to know exactly what you're paying for. So as we look at both these, I want to make this clear. This is the Axis Elite, obviously Tier 1 makes in Aegis Elite, or Aegis Elite, I don't know what it's pronounced, but that one is basically the same, but instead of being held together with this bungee, it is more similar to this. The only other big difference here is obviously I have a light on this one, not on that. Other than that, you can see size-wise, these two are very similar. So I feel like for this review, it's fair to compare the two of them. So first we're gonna start off with the overall texture. I will say the Tier 1 concealed, I have several of these now. They definitely have a smoother texture, slides down the pants a little bit easier. This is a little bit more coarse. I wouldn't say it's a problem, but obviously I'm gonna give you as many details as I can, so I thought that was worth mentioning. This being on a single hinge has pros and cons. You can adjust this by pulling the pin out that is inside there, and you can then shimmy this up or down however you want to make it more comfortable. This, I don't believe you would have that option because then you would not have the holes lining up. But what I like about this holster is the added flexibility of doing that as far as that, and it kind of goes any which way your body needs to move, whereas with the sidecar, that's all the motion you get. Again, is that really a big deal? Not for everyone, but I think it is worth mentioning. So you will see they both have similar style clips here. The ones that lock onto your belt, I definitely prefer these. Oh, I was wrong. That is not, they're similar in the sense that they're both metal. I had thought that had the hook in there, but it does not. Surprisingly, I thought it did, because I will say this grabs the belt incredibly well. So I assume that had that little built-in hook. You can see right here. Sorry, trying to get it close enough so you guys can see how it has that little piece of hook in there. But either way, as far as retaining to the belt, they both do an incredible job. I will say for the Tier 1, getting these clips, that is an upgrade versus these came with it. I did not have to upgrade to these metal clips. So right there is another pro for the T.REX arms, a little bit of savings there. Next, we will talk about overall adjustability. I feel like the T.REX Arms has more adjustability, and you can kind of see when I zoom in here, there are many more holes, as even in addition to the clip, you can adjust, or sorry, the wing, you can adjust it up and down, in and out. These clips go up and down many more notches than with the Tier 1 concealed. You only have, I think, 3 or 4 holes for this. Obviously, with this, you could take off these bricks here. I have not messed with that because as is, it kind of fit me perfectly, so I didn't really need to. But again, just try to mention everything I can think of that could be considered a difference, because at the end of the day, these are extremely similar, but the Tier 1 concealed, as you see, I believe costs about $40-ish more, give or take. So for me, being someone helping you guys out, making the right choice, I gotta be honest, do I see $40 more value in this holster? I don't know if I do or not. Next thing I'd like to compare is the bottom of this. You obviously see the firearm. There's nothing down here. So that could be a benefit. If you have a threaded barrel, that works out in your favor. I personally don't prefer that, unless if this were to be a holster, I could see that being a benefit if you had this on a belt and you're at the range, having the access for brass to flow through instead of getting caught in the holster. Obviously, wearing it on your belt line, you're not going to have that as an issue. So I do prefer the closed style. Obviously, I can't say whether or not if this had a light attached to it, if that would have that open in the bottom. So that is definitely something worth looking into if you're going to run a light. Me personally, I think it looks cleaner. I like there not being holes. I just think it's a better overall design personally. But obviously everyone's going to have their own opinion on that, so take that with a grain of salt. Next, I want to talk about the overall retention. So I will say this holster here, let me try to get that all in frame without hitting the camera. All right, so when I slide this in, hear that click? It's not super positive, and obviously this is retaining to the light, not the firearm. So you can definitely tell it's in, but personally, I think the retention on this, at least the audible sound for me, I like that a little better. Maybe because I'm more used to that, but to me, I just like that feeling. It feels more positive. I will say I haven't messed with the retention of either one. They both work fine for me in that regards, but I would prefer that. Sorry, try not to hit the camera here. To that. It's not as positive with the audible for me. As far as magazines, I will say I think the one on the Tier 1, a little bit more positive, a little bit more pull to that. This seems to slide out easier. Definitely could be because the mags for the CZ have a different coating, but again, overall, I'd have to say for that, I give the Tier 1 the heads up for that. And lastly, and this is completely subjective, but let's talk about the looks. I think this looks a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer. Some of you may disagree and say you feel the opposite. I like that look of it. It just looks a little bit more refined. You see less of the bolts. This just seems, when you look at it, looks a little bit more clunky. You see more of the spacing, you see more of the holes throughout everything. And you guys tell me, which look do you prefer? Obviously, the look has nothing to do with function. This is strictly a personal preference, but if we're gonna compare them side by side, I I think everyone's gonna have a certain want or not want in what they're getting. So I do want to apologize to you guys. I know this review did take me a little bit longer to put out compared to some of my other stuff. I've been working on a couple projects at the same time, and I always like to give you guys real world experience. I wasn't comfortable getting this, throwing it on once and calling it a day. I wanted to try it several times, really walk around with it, check it out, see how I felt about it, and give you my honest opinion. Obviously, I've had this a lot longer. I have a full video on this. If you guys want to check that out. So my bias towards that, I totally get it. But I will say, for the value, I think this T.REX Arms is an incredible holster. I've had no issues with it other than just honest comparisons between the two. It's comfortable. It's got plenty of adjustability. Does exactly what I need, sits where I need. And I don't think you can go wrong with this. I actually plan on buying another holster from them. It's not gonna be a sidecar, it's gonna actually be for my belt. And yes, I have a belt now. Holsters are coming, so when they get here, I can actually put that video out. So check that out soon. But if there's anything I have missed, please feel free to ask me. I try to think of everything I could possibly compare these to. Obviously, these are the only two sidecar style holsters I have amongst many other styles in general. So there may have been some things I forgot that you guys may have been wondering. I get it, you know, you're looking at almost $200. You want to make the best decision for your money. So please, if there's something you're curious about, just ask me in the comments below. I will get back to you as soon as I see it. I try to get back to all my comments as soon as possible. And again, thank you guys for the support. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned, I got a whole lot more coming. Take it easy.